Okay, hi guys, welcome back to this review, and this is going to be of the Campfire Audio Honeydew IEMs. It's a new offering from Campfire Audio, and we're going to get right into that in a second. First of all, if you're new here and you like the look of this mess on the desk, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. All subscribers are going to be included for a giveaway, which this month is going to be a blonde BL-A8 Prometheus, stunning little set of earphones. And if you're subscribed, you're going to be entered into future giveaways as well. And we're going to look to get into giving away some really cool stuff. As for now, this is the review of the Honeydew, which is the second in the cheap earphones. These are $199. These are the Campfire Audio Satsuma. They're $199. The Honeydews are $50 more expensive, $249. Difference being, apart from the price, is that these are a dynamic driver earphone as opposed to the Satsumas, which are a balanced armature. Now you have to excuse the mess here, because I wasn't going to do the usual unboxing thing. I'm just going to show you what you get in the box. So the outer of the box is very similar. You open it up like this, you get the starburst design. Super cool unboxing experience with Campfire Audio, and then you're faced with this little internal box which depicts like a starry night sky, Campfire Audio logo, the trees, the mountains, the forest, and this is probably meant to be the little campfire right in between. You open that up and you'll find the boxes and then the case set in here. And this box contains the accessories, which are already out on the table. This case contains the earphones. In the bottom you'll find the warranty card and the user manual, which nobody will ever use. Well, you might use the warranty card, but the user manual, if you don't know how to use earphones or headphones, there might be something wrong and you should be looking at something else. Over here you get these pouches. These pouches used to be to contain the IEMs, used to come sitting inside that just to protect them in transit, and also to help protect them when you're carrying them about in the case, so that they don't bash into each other. It's not such a problem considering that these are ABS shells now, and you're not going to get scratches like you would with their paint finished IEMs. But yeah, they use these now to transport the accessories. So in this you would get a Campfire Audio pin badge. Nice little addition. It's always nice that they throw this in as a little extra. So you get the pin badge, you get lots of tips. You get 3 different styles of tips, and they're all very high quality. The first ones you get are these ones, the foam tips, similar to Comply foam. You get 3 sizes of these, small, medium and large. There's one installed on the earphones just now. Really nice tips, and I don't know if they are Comply or generic, but I actually prefer them to the Comply. I just think that they perform really well. So if these are Comply, they might be custom made for or a custom size for these particular earphones. The other tips you get I'm not so keen on is these ones. These are the Campfire Audio's own generic silicone tips. These are, I mean, they're fine, they work fine, but I don't like a soft tip like this, and they have quite a wide bore, which I think takes something off the bass, and yeah, I think they're fine in a pinch, but they're not my favourite tips that I would use. Out of tips that I think are my favourite, I think the ranking would go Sony MH1Cs, a set of tips that used to come on a really unique set of Sony earphones with, you know, they came shipped with a mobile phone. I think they came with a Sony Ericsson phone or something like that, and they got super popular, but the tips were fantastic on them. They are the gold standard for me, and they're the ones that I use myself personally. If I don't have those, I use these Final Audio E-Series tips. These are fantastic tips, and it's really, you know, a step up that they're including name brand tips in their packaging. Final Audio sell these separately, and they're super high quality, and with these they really accentuate the bass and accentuate that punchiness of the bass, whereas I found that the wide open ones made it a little bit more flabby sort of a bass. Great tips, really welcome inclusion with the packaging. The other thing you get in the box is this little cleaning tool. The cleaning tool is just to keep earwax and other sort of grime and stuff out of the tips and the grates of the earphone, so you don't gunk up the inside of it. And finally, you get the earphones. We'll look at the cable first, and then we'll go into the build and styling of the earphones themselves. The cable is a version of the Smoky Lips cable. The Smoky Lips is Campfire Audio's high-end cable, and this is essentially just a Smoky Lips cable with maybe slightly thinner gauge wire on it. Everything else, the hardware and the build styling and the build quality is exactly the same, just you're getting a thinner gauge on the wires. So yeah, I don't believe in sound properties and stuff of cables. I just care about the way that cable performs, and this one actually performs really good for a Campfire Audio cable. I've had issues with the Campfire Audio cables for a long time, especially the old tinsel cables. I found that they retained a lot of memory and they didn't wrap up too well. But this is really nice. This performs well. It's super lightweight, and I wish they'd gone for a braid as opposed to they go for a quad twist on it. I think that the braid helps keep the cables from tangling, and the twist is more prone to that, but it's so lightweight that you don't really notice it. And then after a couple of minutes, the memory retention, you can see down here that there's a little kink just forms, and that just forms naturally on Campfire Audio cables. I really wish that they would look at some of the Chinese cables and sort that out, like what you get with a tin hi-fi for like $60–70. You know, performs better in terms of manageability. But yeah, it's really well made. You have 3.5mm connector at the bottom there. I wish they'd included some sort of adapter or a separate cable with a balanced connection for it, even though these are going to be on the lower end of the Campfire Audio spectrum. I just wish that they'd included options, because a lot of people that like Campfire, they're going to you know, have a separate DAP or DAC, which most days now comes with a balanced connector in it. So you have the right angled jack, very nice. You have the metal splitter and slider pops out the top there. It's a nice little snug fit to get that in, so just be careful with the wires. And then it goes into a memory wire on the outside. It's not like a built-in memory wire. Yeah, ear guide there into a little MMCX connector with a little beryllium tip on it. If we go and look at the earphones themselves, the earphones are really nice. I do prefer the color of the Satsuma. The Satsuma are just a little bit more vibrant orange, and this is a little bit more of a mustardy yellow color, or honeydew, I suppose it's meant to be. The housings are very similarly styled and made to Campfire Audio's other high-end stuff. It's just that for this section of the body they've decided to use ABS plastic in order to bring the cost down for them, and you know, you've not got expensive milling and other injection and ceramics to deal with. You just form this with plastic, and it's really well made. It's not cheap plastic, you can hear from that, it's quite a heavy knock. And they have fused it to their traditional metal nozzles, which you see on other earphones, and I think that's a really good choice, because plastic, if it's dropped, is going to have a tendency to be brittle and break. It has the same grill pattern, it has a medium depth insertion. I found them super lightweight, super comfortable. These are a really comfortable, ergonomically friendly earphone, and with the mid-depth insertion and the final audio tips, they are super easy to get a good seal on. In terms of the body construction, you have a little venting hole here, and it doesn't look like there's one on the inside, so just a single vent for the driver on the outside here. Dynamic drivers need room to breathe, they need air so that they can bring it in and then push it back out into your ear canals, and it just equalizes the pressure inside the chamber. It has the beryllium MMCX connector on the top, which I far prefer over 2-pin connectors. And overall, it's just a super nice construction. Very nice earphone indeed. I'm a big fan of these shells. I was a little bit worried when I saw ABS, but it's really nice. In terms of internal construction and design, this one's using a single 10mm dynamic driver unit, I believe, and it's housed in their own 3D printed acoustic chamber, which they do with a lot of their earphones, and allows them to tune the earphones to their own preference. That has worked really well with these. In terms of what I think of these sound-wise, I think you're looking at something that could be considered a Vega light. The Campfire Audio Vega, which we reviewed last year, is one of the best sounding bass earphones that I've heard ever. It absolutely thumps and bangs, and this one can bang when it needs to. It has excellent sub-bass response, and it has overall warm tonality to it. It works well mainly with EDM, and I think the bass is a little bit too prominent for something like jazz and stuff like that, but like even if you're listening to metal with a lot of like the bass in there, it's just the right amount to remain refrained when it needs to, because metal is not a bass heavy genre, but there is always a bass guitarist in there. It sounds really good. The warmth lends itself really nicely to male vocals especially, and there's enough extension in the highs that in combination with that enhanced sub bass, it makes it a really good experience for listening to EDM, trance, that sort of stuff, where you have the peaky sort of highs, boom, you know, going in from the highs dropping into those big sub bass slams, and that accurately represents it really well. Pop, hip hop, those sort of things are going to sound really good with this. So if that's your main sort of thing, EDM, pop, hip hop, and maybe a little bit of rock, especially with male vocals, this is going to be right up your street in terms of tuning. It's a very easy earphone to listen to. It's very relaxed, it's smooth. The treble extension is not too great, which impacts the soundstage and makes it like very closed in. It's quite a you know, the treble really takes a dive off to the top. So for me, it's not something I would have exclusively as my sole earphone, just because I would more than likely, you know, I would more than likely keep this as my bass earphone. I always say that you don't use the same tool, you don't use the same, you know, you don't use a sledgehammer to drive a nail, and you don't use a carpenter's hammer to knock down a wall. I believe that you should have 2 or 3 different sets of earphones, and that covers you for all sorts of listening experiences. But I know a lot of people are just looking for one thing. So think about the type of music that you listen to and the way that you listen to music, and yeah, that's going to lead you into a better sort of position in terms of what you're listening to. And it also sounds, actually, I was thinking about this earlier, just thinking about the E-tips. The E series, the Final Audio E3000, was one of my favourite earphones of all time, budget earphones, and it sounds like an upgraded version of that. It's got this really nice presentation to it. It's inoffensive and it's very easy, especially if you're treble sensitive. In terms of value, that's where you get into sort of trying to quantify what is good value and what is bad value. In terms of accessories, packaging, all the extras you get, the cable, everything, build quality, warranty support, all that stuff, that is really good. And despite Asian companies, you know, Chi-Fi companies having a lot of drivers and a lot of hybrids and a lot of electrostatics, access to planars and stuff like that, I think that you can get more value for money easily for if you're just looking at pure sound quality. Pure sound quality, something like the Tin Hi-Fi P1 is going to murder these. Similarly, there's a few others that can probably beat it out for half the price. The Shure Tape, for example, it has exceptional bass and it has a really nice mid and upper range from I believe it's a planar and dynamic hybrid, that one. And that's just the way it is now. It's just American companies, Western companies are just going to struggle to compete because Shenzhen is just pushing out earphones at fantastic value prices. They've got fantastic tuning. They are just, I'm a big fan of Chi-Fi. Everybody knows that. And I'm sorry to say it, but companies like this, like Campfire Audio, are struggling to compete in that lower end thing. I still think Campfire are fantastic value up at the higher end. I think the Dorado sounds amazing for the money, and it's $1,100. And the mid-range stuff that I've got through in the office there is I have the new Mammoth and the Holocene, and they're going to be mid-priced headphones, and I think they sound fantastic as well. I think when you get into that lower price range, you have a lot of Chi-Fi companies trying to compete for really low prices. And they're offering a lot of state-of-the-art technology, EST drivers, planar drivers, hybrids, tribrids, and it's just going to get harder and harder for Western companies to compete with that because they have overheads to manage, they have American wages, they have American development costs, patent costs and stuff like that. If you're operating in the Shenzhen free area, you don't have to deal with any of that. Your concept to production time is minimal in comparison with what Campfire Audio have to go through, and they're all doing it all in-house with the sound development. I know Ken is a fantastic tuner of earphones, and they're a really, really nice company that I think deserves a lot of support. But if you're looking at it in terms of pure sound quality to value, bang for your buck, there's going to be better earphones out there, and it's just the way it is now. But as an overall package, I think it's more tempting because you get a lot of good stuff there. You get a really nice, well-made earphone, and you get warranty support. If you're talking about trying to get into contact with Tin Hi-Fi, good luck for you. If you're trying to get in contact with Kinera or something like that, good luck. Good luck processing your warranty and returns on that. This one, you can just send them back to Campfire Audio, and I'm sure they will deal with it in a fast and efficient manner. With your best interests in mind. So keep that in mind when you're considering buying these. I think they're good earphones. I think that they wouldn't be, for me personally, the only earphones that I own, but if I was keeping them as a set of Basshead earphones, definitely a good choice. And in terms of the Satsuma, which are taking price out of it, I think these are substantially better just because I prefer a dynamic driver bass. It's just more realistic to me. So that's going to be it for this review. If you liked the video, I know I sort of rambled on a little bit there about economics and other sort of things, but if you like this review, please subscribe to the channel. As I say, you will be entered into the giveaways, and there's not a lot of subscribers on the channel, so you're going to be in with a good chance to win something just now, I guess. Coming up, we have the Kinera Skuld, we have the The-Audio Oracle, and we have iBasso DX300 and a bunch of other stuff coming up just now that I'm super excited about. We're going to try and produce sort of 3 to 4 reviews a week, so definitely if you like earphones, you like audio, get yourself subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.